Hello, good evening and welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Chimobi Walter Naji. First, let's take the headlines. As World celebrates Women's Day with recognition of achievements and elimination of obstacles, First Lady of Nigeria Aisha Buhari asked women to pay attention to children's well-being. President Buhari commends Lagos State Governor, describes efforts at containing spread of coronavirus infection as worthy of elimination. Outpouring of encomium as Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo turns 63. Many thanks for being with us. Now, the International Women's Day is celebrated on the 8th of March every year. It is a focal point in the movement for women's rights. The International Women's Day date was moved to March 8 in 1913. The day aimed to help nations worldwide eliminate discrimination against women. It also focuses on helping women gain full equal participation in global development. The theme for this year is I Am Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. And the occasion of International Women's Day is not only meant to celebrate women's achievements, but to remind them of the need to continue playing those crucial roles towards making the world a better place for humanity. The wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, said, therefore called on the Nigerian women as mothers, wives, sisters, role models and equal stakeholders in the project humanity and make the world a better place. She said women look forward to more opportunities for the realization of their full potential for equitable, just and prosperous society. Now, as the world celebrates women and girls across the globe, Elizabeth Omori decided to visit the government secondary school in Abuja to ascertain how girls in science are faring with this year's theme focuses on equality.
Equality is a key phrase in the 2020 Women's Day celebration. While the conversation continues, it is perhaps instructive to take a peek at tomorrow's woman. She's a girl today. Actually, we found two, Brenda and Edidiong, sassy, confident and uniquely focused on science. The lab is their natural habitat.
I, for one, love all animals, and I think that if they get hurt, they need to be someone that can be there to help them. So that's why I chose veterinary medicine. And also in various sectors like agriculture, I think someone like a veterinary doctor will be needed in those aspects to take care of the animals.
Including snakes?
Yes, I love snakes. That's one of my favorite animals. When I grew up, I actually intend to have a snake tank in my house.
Why?
Because I love them.
When I see doctors, I'll be like, okay, I want to imitate this doctor when I grow up. So I want to be one of the doctors who help to who help them in their health. I want to help them heal.
It is a curious thing that a girl child seems to need very little motivation to sail above the tide, to instinctively reach for the stars, or even become one in the process. Interestingly, that a key word is interest. No matter the number or lack of it, the quest for knowledge requires its own courage.
There are some subjects that I find difficult, like physics and chemistry. But from time to time, and if we follow the advice our teachers gives us, by reading and by practicing, I can make it through.
I've always found science as interesting, and it has been my passion from the onset, even though I also like art a bit, but science is my main passion, so that has really drawn me to science class.
We don't just say sciences, we say STEM. That is science, technology, engineering and mathematics. The boys tend to go mostly on technological basis. There you see fewer girls when you're talking of technology. When you're talking of pure sciences, the girls are ready. They need to be mentally stable to carry out these activities.
Science and women seem to share similar characteristics. One is a platform, which creates infinite possibilities, while the other is trusted by nature to produce and ensure sustenance. Brenda and Edidiong are on the threshold of something, to become women and accomplished practitioners. Their success would surely help in moving today's ideal to tomorrow's certainty. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Still sticking with the celebrations, the Federal Character Commission is poised to use its principle of fairness and equity in the distribution of public posts and socio-economic infrastructures to ensure that women take their rightful place in Nigeria. The assurance was given at a walk to mark the 2020 International Women's Day at Debola Brooksling Sunday reports.
In all ramifications, women play significant and important roles in all areas of human endeavors. In Nigeria, statistics show that women account for almost half of the entire population, and they are generally lagged behind in many aspects of life. Marking the 2020 International Women's Day, they walked from the Eagle Square to Unity Fountain in Abuja, where their position was made known.
I believe if we are given the opportunity, we will see another Nigeria.
All we are saying is give us the chance to serve and watch us serve.
To drive home their demand in line with the theme, I am a generation equality, realizing women's rights, with the hashtag Each for Equal, they proceeded to the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs.
It is not only about women equality, we are talking about economic empowerment, economic equality as well. Let me come closer to home. In our commission, that's Federal Character Commission, for the first time since inception, we have 5 women directors.
When you look at the tertiary institutions, when we talk about the quota for professional courses, we are advocating for at least a certain percentage of representation of girls to be given admission into professional courses like medicine, engineering, ICT, name it.
The day coincides with the 25th year of Beijing Declaration that adopted equality of men and women. At Debola Brooksling Sunday, NTA News.
And now to speak more on the significance of International Women's Day celebration is the United Nations Women Deputy Representative, Mr. Lansana Wane. You're welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's begin. I mean, why are women always relegated to the background, especially in governance?
Well, this has been part of the sociocultural setting of many societies across the world, but more especially in Africa, and I can come back to Nigeria, where societies have been built on patriarchal norms. Patriarchal norms dictate and give power to men and control. And with those power and control, men tend to marginalize women. They limit the participation of women in public affairs and relegate them to the private part of the community, taking care of children, the care responsibilities, taking care of the home, etc., etc. However, patriarchy is not good for any society, it's not good for any country, because women have equal opportunity. They have equal, when they are given equal opportunity as men, they have similar capacity as men to deliver and to make societies better.
All right, so I mean, women, especially here in Nigeria, you know, now are asking for 50% away from the 30% affirmative action, you know, they did ask earlier. Do you think this is achievable?
Of course, it depends on political will, and that is why we are calling on every member of the society. This time around, the theme for International Women's Day is Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. And what generation equality, actually the campaign is focused on, is bringing everybody on board, every gender, every age group, every ethnicity, every race, every society and every country to take action to realize women's rights. And it's simply a worthwhile cause. There are about 50% of women And 50% of the population in Nigeria, for instance, is made up of women. And it requires that it is only fair that women have the same opportunity as men. If they make 50% of the population, then they could have 50% of all the opportunities in the country. That is the moral side. But then there are also important indications that now suggest that when you give equal opportunity to women, you create a better economic society if you just look at it from the economic sense. You realize that in Nigeria, for instance, women dominate what we call the informal business, make a bigger tax base for the government, and therefore the economy of this country will grow better. Equally so, if women have better economic opportunities, it means their children are going to become better. They will go to school, they will become better professionals, and they will take better care of their societies. So it is just important that we invest in women and make sure that they have equal opportunity as men. In that way, this society, the country, will become a better place.
All right, so finally, I mean, let's now get to your office. In what areas, has the United Nations been encouraging women participation in governance?
The United Nations globally, and I mean all the United Nations agencies plus the Secretariat, are very much committed to promoting gender equality and the empowerment of women across the globe. So the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women, UN Women, the organization that I work for, was established to make sure, first, that the UN agencies uphold their commitment to promoting gender equality, but also that the nation states of the United Nations do uphold the commitments that they make to promoting gender equality and the empowerment of women. So what we do as an organization first is to help countries to adopt and domesticate the international standards, international norms. Nigeria, for instance, is signatory to the Beijing Declaration, which we are celebrating its 25th year. It's a very progressive declaration that was made globally 25 years ago, to which countries around the globe committed to uphold gender equality and to uphold the rights of women. The other one is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Violence Against Women. Nigeria is also a signatory to that. Nigeria is also a signatory to the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325. So all of these, we work with the government of Nigeria to make sure that those international standards, international norms, laws, and policies are domesticated within the national laws, but also the local laws in the country and implemented. So that is one of the things that we do. The other thing that we do is to coordinate the work of all the United Nations agencies in this country, but also other development partners that are working to promote gender equality.
Okay.
Also, we implement specific programs that support women's equality to men, that promotes women's participation in the economy, that promotes women's participation in politics, that ends violence against women and girls, that aims to promote women's participation in peace and security,
okay,
as well as humanitarian action, which is a case in Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Lansana Wane, for coming to the studios. I've been speaking with the United Nations Women's Deputy Representative here in Nigeria, Mr. Lansana Wane. Many thanks for being with us in the studio. Moving over now to other stories, President Muhammadu Buhari is tasking the Lagos State government to sustain efforts at containing the coronavirus disease, describing steps taken so far as encouraging, reassuring, and worthy of emulation. The president stated this while granting audience to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at his official residence. Their discussions held behind closed doors centered mainly on the global pandemic and the status of containment efforts in Lagos and other parts of the country. President Buhari appreciated the high-level preparedness and commitment of the Lagos State government in preventing the spread of the COVID-19 index case and promised desired support and assistance by the federal government.
And we just continue to, do what we're doing. right? And is appreciative of the fact that I had come personally to thank him and to brief him as to what we're doing. We still have the index patient. I hear that he's responding, right? And for you to be completely out of it, there are a series of tests that needs to happen, right? And I think the entire medical personnel that are doing that are currently, monitoring him, and we're also monitoring the other people, the other set of patients that we have on the observation. All that is going on. The contact center calls them, on the daily basis, and if there's need be, they will also be asked to conduct tests, but up until last night, all of the cases in terms of tests that we've conducted have been negative. They're still running some tests as we speak, right, on some other cases. So we'll see how it goes. But the bottom line is that we certainly should not allow anything to drop off. Monitoring. That's really what we should ensure. Sometimes some of these things don't give you notice. Each time when they come, you just need to be ready and be prepared for it. It's important that Lagos just continue to raise that bar.
Still on health, President Muhammadu Buhari Sunday sent messages to President Hassan Rouhani and Moon Jae-in of Iran and South Korea respectively, and the Prime Minister of Italy, Giuseppe Conte, expressing deep sympathies following increasing incidents of the deadly coronavirus in their countries. In separate messages to the affected countries, President Buhari said the Nigerian government will continue to diligently carry out its duty to the international community by ensuring that the spread of the disease is curtailed. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President also encouraged Nigerians to continue to show support to citizens of all the countries who are residents in Nigeria. President Buhari, while commending the three countries on their efforts to contain the virus, expressed confidence that with the support of the World Health Organization and other global agencies all working together to contain the virus, it will only be a matter of time before the world sees an end to this disease. All right, it's now time to go and break on this news. The news will return in just a moment. Stay with us.
As part of efforts to resolve the National Youth Council of Nigeria leadership crisis, the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development will inaugurate a committee on the resolution of the leadership crisis. The committee comprises the following: Professor Layi Eriosho, Chairman; Alhaji Yarinchi Lawal, Member; Ayodele Olayinka Samuel; Professor Tajuddin Akonji; William Ekpomosaf; Sami Ihejirika; R.S. Jimeta; Professor Bashir Tanimu; Barrister Tepelere Mosugu, nominee of the DSS, a nominee of the Federal Ministry of Justice, Director Legal Services. Deputy Director Youth and Agriculture will serve as Secretary, while the Deputy Director Network will be at the Secretariat. It is therefore expedient for the NYCN to note that the directive of the Ministry on the maintenance of status quo ante on all activities of the Youth Council remains extant till the committee completes its work. The Ministry therefore seizes this opportunity to advise consular and embassies in Nigeria, MDAs, states and local governments, the media and the general public to seek clarification from the Ministry before granting recognition to any individual or group claiming to be President of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. Announcer Gabriel T. Aduda, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development.
Coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, what you should do and what you should know. What are the symptoms? Runny nose, sore throat, headache, fever, cough, feeling of being unwell. Human coronaviruses or COVID-19 is most commonly spread from an infected person to others through the air by coughing and sneezing, close personal contact such as touching or shaking hands, touching an object or surface with the virus on it, then touching your mouth, nose, eyes without washing your hands. A COVID-19 infected person is most infectious when he or she is displaying symptoms. The most effective way to protect yourself from the virus is to practice good personal hygiene. Wash hands with soap under running water or use an alcohol-based sanitizer if water is not available. Avoid touching your face with your hands. We must also protect others. If we are sick, we should rest and recover at home as much as possible. If we need to go out and see a doctor while sick, we should wear a surgical mask to protect others from being infected. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Many thanks for being with us. The President is determined to accomplish the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline within the 24 months period of the signed agreement. The period falls within the balance of period covered by his second 4-year term. The Ajaokuta-Abuja-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline project is among the cardinal policy objectives of the Buhari administration, and its realization will be a major accomplishment of the government's efforts in the delivery of democracy dividends. In a statement by the senior specialist advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, he said the pipeline project is itself a section of an ambitious pipeline project to supply gas to Europe through the proposed Trans-Sahara gas pipeline and Nigeria Miracle gas pipelines. The project entails the engineering, procurement, construction and commissioning of a 614 kilometers gas pipeline and stations traversing the states of Kogi, Niger, FCT, Kaduna and Kano. It is to transport dry gas from the nation's rich gas fields in the Niger Delta to the northern parts of Nigeria. The gas penetration to these areas of the country will significantly reduce energy costs for industries along the pipeline corridor, in addition to the massive generation of employment during and after the construction. It will also give the nation energy security and act as a catalyst to propel industrial development and boost agriculture in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates most heartily the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as he celebrates his 63rd birthday anniversary. In a telephone call Sunday afternoon to his deputy, the President commends Professor Osinbajo's loyalty and dedication to the administration. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said the President Buhari notes that the intellectual capacity of the Vice President has impacted positively on the overall accomplishments of the federal government, most notably in the economic and social intervention programs. The President joins family members, friends and associates of Professor Osinbajo in wishing him joyous birthday celebration. And the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has felicitated with the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, as he marks his 63rd birthday. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President of the Senate on Media and Publicity, Ola Awoniyi, Senator Lawan noted the many outstanding achievements of Osinbajo as an erudite lawyer, distinguished scholar, revered clergyman and political leader. He observed that Professor Osinbajo has brought his diverse experiences to bear on his role in government and demonstrated that one can actively participate in politics at the highest levels and yet maintain personal integrity and high reputation. He wishes the Vice President many more years of great accomplishments and good health. The Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has also extolled the virtues of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on the occasion of his 63rd birthday. The Vice President, he says, personifies humility, sagacity, sincerity and patriotism, among other positive attributes. In a statement, the Speaker recalls Osinbajo's 8-year tenure as the Attorney General of Lagos to his present place of Vice President, describing him as one of the most honest people he had come across. The Speaker of the House of Representatives wishes the Vice President continuous good health and God's protection. Equally, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Temipria Silva, says the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is quintessentially one of the most reliable, dependable and progress-oriented leaders of Nigeria. In this era, he says Professor Osinbajo is a perfect blend of intellectualism, work ethics, service to God and the nation, which his country has benefited enormously from. And now to sports. As Nigeria-Israel Adesanya has successfully retained his middleweight title after he defeated Yoel Romero in Las Vegas. The Nigerian-born New Zealander Adesanya, 30, prepared the 42-year-old Cuban with powerful leg kicks to take victory on the scorecards. The bout started almost at a complete standstill, with Romero static in the middle of the octagon holding a high guard. The Sydney 2000 freestyle wrestling silver medalist, bizarre style, clearly puzzled Adesanya, who struggled to find any openings through the first two rounds. Adesanya found more rhythm in the second half of the fight, however, scoring consistently with powerful kicks to Romero's lead leg. He retained the title after unanimous decision. All right, next is Monday's weather prospect. To stay with us. And that wraps up the news on NTA International. Many thanks for watching. I'm Chimobi Walter Naji. Good evening.